What was the Camp Lejeune water contaminated with? Water samples from Camp Lejeune showed at least 4 chemical contaminants. 1. Trichloroethylene, TCE, which is a solvent used as a metal degreaser. 2. Tetrachloroethylene or perchloroethylene, PCE or PERC, which is a chemical used for dry cleaning and metal degreasing. 3. Vinyl chloride, which is a gas used in manufacturing plastic products. And 4. Benzene, a liquid used to manufacture detergents, pesticides, dyes, and a variety of other products. From 1953 to 1987, residents and workers and Marines stationed in Camp Lejeune were exposed to these chemicals, resulting in multiple health issues, including reproductive disorders, Parkinson's disease, and a variety of cancers. With the Honoring Our PAC Act officially signed by President Biden, eligible veterans and individuals can seek financial compensation and file a lawsuit. When was Camp Lejeune's water contaminated? It is estimated that Camp Lejeune's water supply was contaminated from 1953 to 1987. Using data analysis and modeling to reconstruct the contaminant concentration, the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, the ATSDR, estimated that the Tarawa Terrace water treatment plant contained high levels of PCE for 346 months, from November 1957 to February 1987. For the Hadnot Point water treatment plant, estimates show that contaminants were present in high levels from August 1953 to January of 1985. It was only in the 1970s that the Environmental Protection Agency identified Camp Lejeune as a major source of pollution in the area, and it was only in 1982 when the military started testing drinking water for chemicals. In 1984, regulations were added for proper disposal of hazardous waste materials to avoid contamination in the camp, and a year later, the most contaminated water wells were shut down. How was Camp Lejeune's water contaminated? Specific volatile organic compounds, VOCs, were discovered in the drinking water supplied by 2 of Camp Lejeune's water treatment plants. Water from the Tarawa Terrace plant was highly contaminated by PCE, perchloroethylene, primarily due to the waste disposal practices of an off-base dry cleaning firm, ABC 1 Hour Cleaners. Meanwhile, water from the Hadnot Point plant was highly contaminated with TCE, trichloroethylene, as well as PCE, benzene, TCE degradation products trans 1, 2-DCE, and vinyl chloride. The plant's supply wells were contaminated due to a combination of industrial spills, poor waste disposal practices, and leaking underground storage tanks. Why didn't they do water testing at Camp Lejeune? The Marine Corps sampled the water supply at Camp Lejeune in 1980 and 1981 to test for certain chemicals as per EPA standards, but their initial findings were inconclusive due to other chemicals that interfered with results. In 1982, the Marine Corps tested the water again and identified several contaminants, such as TCE, trichloroethylene, and PCE, perchloroethylene or tetrachloroethylene, that were well above the EPA standards for drinking water. It wasn't until 1985 that the federal government shut down the most contaminated supply wells on Camp Lejeune, but it wasn't until the end of 1987 that the water was deemed completely safe. According to the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, the water being supplied by the Hadnot Point plant was already affected by toxic chemicals as early as 1953. What health issues are connected with the water contamination at Camp Lejeune? Many veterans, their families, and workers who were stationed for 30 days or more at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 have developed health issues stemming from exposure to contaminated water at Camp Lejeune. These health conditions include breast cancer, liver cancer, kidney cancer, bladder cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, cervical cancer, lung cancer, esophageal cancer, leukemia, and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Other health issues include reproductive disorders, birth defects, renal toxicity, sclerodoma, a type of autoimmune disease, and neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease. In 2007, lawsuits were filed against the U.S. government regarding the water contamination issues at Camp Lejeune. In total, around 850 lawsuits were filed by former Camp Lejeune residents and Marines who had developed different illnesses from contaminant exposure. However, these cases were dismissed in 2016 due to North Carolina's statute of limitations. The recently signed PACT Act effectively removes the statute of limitations for these lawsuits for 2 years, giving veterans and their families a chance to recover damages from exposure to contaminants at Camp Lejeune. Are veterans who were stationed at Camp Lejeune eligible to participate in the lawsuit? Veterans, their families, and workers who were stationed for 30 days or more at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 and developed a health condition are eligible to file a claim and seek financial compensation. Health conditions include cancers, reproduction disorders, birth defects, renal toxicity, scleroderma, and neurological disorders like Parkinson's disease. Previously, the North Carolina statute of limitations prevented Marines and their families from seeking financial compensation. Due to the PACT Act signed in August 2022, veterans and individuals who have developed a disease caused by the contamination have 2 years to file a lawsuit from the date of the Act's enactment, while those who haven't developed an illness will have 2 years from the date of a future diagnosis to do so. If you were affected by Camp Lejeune's water contamination and would like to explore whether or not you have a lawsuit, please contact Maxwell Law Group at 844-427-3031. We will answer your questions and review your case for free.